What's going on, dude? Nice to finally meet you.
You too. Thanks for having me on, Adam. Much appreciated.
No, thanks for reaching out. Oh, actually, I should be thanking Matt Young of King Parrot.
That's it, man. He's our man. He's all over it.
Yeah, I actually wanted him on, but then I think he said he was just like really busy doing a album, I believe, with King Parrot.
Yeah, I think their single drops the 27th of this month. So yeah. I think our album comes out the week before, and then you get some King Parrot after. You fucking rock and roll.
Yeah, and then I think they're gonna be doing a tour up in Europe with Power Trip and Pantera, I believe.
Yeah, and then afterwards they're doing some dates with Master throughout Europe, which would be pretty cool.
Fuck, man, that band! I remember seeing King Parrot like maybe twice in Wollongong. And it was mainly like at Dicey Riley's in the pub and stuff like that. And now like those guys have like fucking grown, man. I'm like so proud of that
huge,
band.
Man. Crazy. Yeah, no, same thing, man. Like like I'm in Melbourne, but I remember seeing them all the way out in Belgrade and stuff like that, places like that. But and they still do that, man. Like they're still doing all those weird regional spots and stuff. But also just happen to also be doing Wembley with Pantera. So
yeah. Dude, that's
Aussie grindcore at Wembley. That's a fucking head trip, isn't it?
Could you imagine like the Circle Pit?
Oh man, I know. Absolutely wild.
Yeah. So like I've been digging through your Instagram and stuff like that, dude. You play in 3 bands.
Yeah. Right? So look, 2 at the moment. Like my older band, Pissrash, they've sort of dropped off now. I think the last EP might be the last thing we do, but also playing a band with my partner and a couple of old friends, Ratloard, which is sort of crusty black metal with a bit of noise in there, and then Choof is the ever vacuous one. I mean, we're always playing, recording, and touring and stuff like that. So it's good, man. It just means that I've never got downtime.
Yeah. So how do you balance all 3? Like, how do you do it?
It's it's one of those things where it's like I'm pretty grateful that the guys in Ratlord a lot of the time sort of understand that it's like, all right, I've got to do this now, but we just sort of block out time periods. So we got the tour for Choof in January, which will be awesome, and then in March we'll be doing a run with Ratlord to put out our demo cassette. So it's like a bit of tag, a bit of back and forth and stuff like that. And I think because the bands are both heavy but of different genres, it's cool to sort of be able to play different bills, do different things and stuff like that. So it's not always just grind shows. We're able to jump on some punk shows and stuff like that. And it just keeps things fresh and interesting, man.
And mix it up a bit, eh?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Because I've never heard of you guys before until Matt Young said, like, he mentioned your name. And then he sent me the link to your profiles and stuff, man. You guys sound very similar to King Parrot.
Oh man, it's that Aussie grindy fucking. I think they definitely have longer songs than us, and are definitely a bit more chorusy and stuff like that. I think I don't know. I think most of our songs probably clock in around about a minute, probably on average or something like that. So, but dude, those guys have our first show was opening up for them, so they've sort of always been in our corner. Squiz did the demo for us, and then he also he's been the producer on everything we've done, like the album that we've got coming out next week. He was producer on all of that. We recorded that with Jason Fuller at Goat Sound. So just man, had a lot of good people, had a lot of faith in the project, which has been pretty humbling to be honest.
Yeah, that's rad. That's rad as shit, man. Like I've noticed like Melbourne is like huge for like the metal scene as well. There's a lot of cool bands, like cool metal bands out of Melbourne, dude. Like I had Travis Everett from Witch Grinder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had him on the podcast. Fucking great dude, man.
The first band that I played in was a punk band, and Jake, their bass player, played in Stone to Death from Witch Grinder. So it's man, such an incestuous scene in Melbourne. It's, that band. Like, it used to be drummer or bass player in the other band, but look, Melbourne's good. It does have a really, really good metal scene, man. But I think the one thing that I will shout about Melbourne as well is we're pretty good with mixed bills. You know, like
Yeah.
we've got good crossover between a lot of the extreme genres, and I think a lot of cities, especially going up the coast, have cottoned onto that, where it's just sort of like doesn't have to be this divide between punk and metal or whatever. Like, it's cool to go to a show and see, a hardcore band, a doom band, a thrash band, or get a bit of everything. I think that's the thing that I enjoy the most about,
Yeah.
especially what shows down in Melbourne.
Yeah, exactly right, man. Like, that's and there's another cool band too, Primitive. They're from I think Melbourne as well.
Yeah,
They're like sort of like that Trivium Metallica Machine Head thrashy.
yeah, cool.
Yeah, like they're fucking amazing too, man. But yeah, Travis Everett, man, he's fucking killing it with Witch Grinder. I remember the first time I saw Witch Grinder was with his Static X, and it was after
Oh
the
yeah,
Static X.
wow.
Yeah, it was fucking ripper, dude. And after the Static X meet and greet, I was just me and this other guy that I was hanging out with that we just like become friends. And then he walked in and goes, "Oh, you at the Static X meet and greet?" And I'm like, "Yeah," like fucking yeah, I was the support act, and I was like, yeah, you guys sounded good, but like your fucking sound engineer should have like turned your guitars up a bit more."
Yeah, yeah,
So I couldn't really hear it, but they
yeah.
sounded
He
great.
taking off the
Like,
gin. He was like, "All right, cool, yeah."
yeah. But yeah, and then at the time I was doing another podcast with a mate from Ohio, so I got Travis on that podcast and introduced him to my friend Mike from America, and yeah, we became a big fan of his. And then after that, I started my own, and said to Travis, like, "Dude, I've got a music and horror podcast. Would you like to be in it?" He goes, "Yeah." So like to actually chatting to him
Yeah.
for the second time. He's such an amazing dude.
Yeah, no,
Great
and which
guitar
which
player too.
grinder on a horror metal podcast, that makes so much sense. Like, it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. It's like what did I say about the genre of music? It's like industrial thrash metal. That's
Yeah,
how I
yeah,
saw
definitely
how I
got some
saw it.
industrial sound. Yeah.
Yeah. So how long have you been playing in bands for, and what made you want to become a musician?
Oh man, I've probably been playing in a band more or less since I was 15 or something like that. I reckon the first few years it was really just, fucking around, garage band, good
Yeah,
excuse to, sneak out, have beers or whatever. But
yeah,
yeah, I don't know, man. Playing music and just especially to a live audience has always been number one. Like, it's heaps of fun, dude. But I don't know, you get asked that question of like, oh, what's the main motivation? And I guess with Choof, like the biggest thing is it's like for me, I can walk around the pub with no shoes on. I can call everybody in the pub a cunt. I can spit on everybody, crawl around the floors, and at the end of the night they go, "Oh, here's some money. Oh, and here's your free beers. Good work." So fuck, if I did that
yeah.
anywhere else, under any other circumstances, I'd be kicked out in 2 seconds. It's like, but
Oh, too
grind
easy.
cool.
Yeah,
That's like,
yeah,
yeah, that's cool. So yeah, and look, man, it's one of those things. If you're a fan of metal, I would have been paying to go to half the shows I would have been playing anyway. So it's like now I've got free entry. I've got license to fucking be a maniac, and
yeah.
yeah, you get paid in
And
beers at the
play
end of it all.
music, man.
Yeah, fucking oath.
Yeah,
Yeah, do
and
you
it's
play
like
music at all?
I'm a guitarist, so I just play for fun. Like I'll play around with riffs
Yeah,
and I'll have like a little recording thing. If there's like a riff that I like, then I'm like, oh, this might be catchy. Then I'll just like sort of like record like maybe the first maybe minute of that riff and then just
yeah,
save it. And then if I can come up with anything else, add it again, then just add like some drum machines and shit like that. Just for fun, man. Like I love music. I've always loved music at such a young age. Like,
yeah. Oh
like
no, dude, it's
kissing
good
out
to have a
Superman.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's good to have a rip bank there, man.
Yeah, yeah. So like at the moment, yeah, I've been jamming with this beast, my 7 string. So
Yeah, beauty.
yeah, I've
That's so
had
sick.
this one I had this one for a good 9 years because I got it for my 30th, I remember. But but yeah, music for me, man. Um, it was like my best friend. Music was like the only thing that I can communicate with. Like, maybe it was the same thing with you, but like, in high school, I was a fucking outcast. and
Yeah,
then,
totally, man.
and then like music has always been there for me, dude. Like,
100%. No, and it's funny because I think like it's almost a good segue, and that like horror has also been the other thing that's been pretty much adjacent to that from just as young. Like uh, you have a shit day at school or whatever, you go home, you pop on your favorite horror movie or your favorite record, and you're somewhere else, man. And it's just it's very healing, definitely.
yeah. Oh, 100%. It cuts out all the negative shit out too, man. Like, it's just something about music that just saves lives and
Yeah,
brings you
100%.
positive, like positive energy. That's why I love going to gigs, man. Like, I'm 39 and I'm too old. I'm too old for the pit, so I stay behind the soundboard because I
Yep.
like the fucking feel of the sound hitting you in the face and shit like that. But yeah, going to like metal gigs, dude, like it feels like a big community. You know what I mean? Everyone gets along. No one doesn't fucking argue or fight. Maybe there's one or two people that fight in the pit or some shit like that over something shitty, but like it's everyone gets along. Everyone's there for the same reason, and I'm sure you see that in your shows too. So
Oh, 100%, man. And I think like you said with the metal community, like, yeah, shit happens. It's a pretty high octane environment, lots of people on the piss and loud music in the pit. But the overwhelming majority of their people are there for the same reason, and they just want to be around like-minded people. And it's just, yeah, it's a good feeling, man. It's really good.
yeah. So who are like obviously you're the vocalist for all three bands. Like who inspired you to become a vocalist?
When I was growing up, man, like obviously a lot of I grew up during the early 2000s, so like for me, a lot of those big influences when I was really young was stuff like Lamb of God and bands like that.
Yeah.
But then I always find that it's one of those things where it's like when you're younger and you start listening to a band like Lamb of God, they'll be wearing an I Hate God shirt, and then you're listening to I
Yeah.
Hate God, and then then you're listening to I Hate God's going, oh man, we love these guys. But have you listened to Soylent Green? And it just sort of ping pongs. And I think like for the bands that I'm in at the moment, for Ratlord, it's definitely like that sort of definitely like the black metal stuff, and a bit of a Meebix and stuff like that. But for Choof, it was yeah, a few years ago, I found Apartment 213, Lack of Interest, just that original wave of power violence bands, and just hearing
Yeah.
those wild, deep vocals, and the songs are just short and hard hitting. And yeah, I don't know. I was at a band practice one day, and that vocal range popped out. It's sort of like, all
Yeah.
right, that's it. I got to use this for something, man. It's
Yeah.
so dumb.
Yeah. It's a gift from
Very
God.
Neanderthal. Yeah. Either that, man, or it's. I think it's just some shit left over from the caveman that hasn't evolved out yet. Pure
Yeah.
Neanderthal.
Thanks, mom and dad.
Yeah, truly, man, truly.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's fucking sick. And like, do you do any vocal like exercises or anything? Because like your vocals are fucking intense, bro. Like, how do you maintain that without fucking it up or anything? Like,
Oh, dude, I have no
is it?
idea. I've been winging it for 10 years.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know.
really?
Like,
Wow.
yeah, dude, I have absolutely no idea. And but I would say that for me, for a for a set to go well, as long as I haven't
Yeah.
eaten too far before, and I've had just the right amount of beers, that's usually
Yeah.
the rest. Otherwise it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I got no advice. Someone asked me the other night, they're like, so I'm trying to get into it. What would you do? I said, go ask a real vocalist. I got
To go back what you were saying about you trying not to eat too much or whatever it is before you go on stage. When I was doing a podcast with my buddy Mark Usnick, I was his co-host for Pink Sock. And we had a guitarist and singer from a metal band called Them Kings, I think it was. And his name was Jeff Rhodes. And he was telling us that he was out for dinner 2 hours prior for the show, and he had something to eat, so you can have some energy and shit. And mid show or something, like he really needed to take a shit. And fucking he tried to hold it in and hold it, and he just ended up shitting his pants. And fucking he still played the whole set.
What a legend!
So,
What a dead set
yeah.
hero!
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think
So
see, I've thought about the logistics of it, and I'm a sweaty bastard, so I go on stage. I don't wear any shoes or socks. Always in shorts and a t-shirt because anything more is just too much. I reckon if I shit myself, you would know before I did. Everyone would be having a good time, and all of a sudden, what's oh no! Like,
yeah.
thankfully for us, we only play a 25-minute set, so I've only got to hold it
That's right.
down for like 25 blistering minutes of insanity if I can just get over the line. But
Yeah.
yeah, nah, never shit myself on stage. One for the bucket list.
Yeah, I think it was like I can't remember because it was like a couple of years ago, but I think it was maybe I can't remember how long the set was. I think it was like close to an hour.
Brutal. That's brutal, man. Brutal.
But he fucking killed it.
Yeah, I hope he's wearing pants.
All those what's those adult sized diapers?
There'll come a time, my friend. There will come a time.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So
definitely in my future.
so like who are your main vocalists? Who's the ones who inspired you to become the vocalist who you are like today?
I don't know, man. I just honestly, I think legit any performer who doesn't stand, any vocalist who doesn't stand still, anyone who moves around, like I think that's so. Look, if you're bound to a guitar or an instrument or something like that, that's totally different. And a lot of the time, you're bringing a completely different vibe to it anyway. I think an amazing example of that of a vocalist who from Melbourne who plays guitar is Hormagaunt. He amazing death metal band, but just has such presence. Like it's like he doesn't have a guitar. But I think growing up, I was in heaps of punk bands, so you start with the obvious like Iggy Pop and stuff like that, and then the further down the line, the more extreme you get towards people like Gigi Allen and all of that kind of stuff, where it's sort of like everything's out the window and sort of anything goes. But I don't know, man. I don't think that I think when you're at one of our live shows, I think you'll see that not a lot of pre-thought goes into much. It's just sort of
You
like
fucking do it.
let's just see what happens. And look, I think we're really thankful in that our fan base just reacts in the exact way that you would want them to. So it's kind of like feeding off mutual madness, which is which is great. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of early Derby Crash would be a massive one as well. Like there just being no barrier between the stage and the audience, and what you can do with your body and what you can sort of give, in that time period that you're up there.
Yeah. And like you're saying, like what, 25 minutes? You said like a set, like you guys normally play it sometimes.
26 minutes is the limit.
Yeah.
We'll get through 16 songs with a big closer too. So yeah, thank you.
Cut the 1 minute songs to 5 minutes. Just do endless breakdowns.
Yeah. I've said since the beginning, it's especially with the songs are intense, the show's intense, the whole thing's wild. But I feel like in this day and age, audiences have so much less attention, man. Bands play 45, 50-minute set, local bands. People get 25, 30 minutes in, they go for a smoke, then they go to the bar, then maybe they're not coming back. They say, oh, I've seen Jeff outside and they're having a smoke. I want to have every single person that is here to see the band and in it for the whole set. And poof, it's done. It's over. It's gone. You know what I mean? Like off to the bar and the smokers and everywhere else. But I feel like there's something really golden about a really good 25 minutes.
Yeah. Do you have like a like a dream lineup that you want to have like with you when you go on tour? Like, is there like a band that you want to tour with that you want to take out?
Look, there's an infinite list of bands from overseas that I'd love to get over. I think like the biggest ones are the obvious ones. I'd love to get Infest to Australia to be the first. I don't think Infest have ever toured here before. They're pioneers of the genre that that we're probably closest to. We're really lucky to have toured with Despise You before, which was obviously so high on that list. I think a lot of the other bands, I think the problem with bringing them over here, Apartment 213, lack of interest is with the cost of getting a band over here with visa and flights, I don't know how well they would do in five cities or something like that. But that would be ultimate dream. But
Yeah,
inside of Australia, man, we've been blessed. Like we've played with just about all of my favorite bands, like from Australia anyway. I see Blood
yeah,
Duster are back. Be cool to definitely do a bill with those guys. I'm sure that Fuller will make the most of that and get some really ripper shows going. But no, we've been really lucky, man. We've played with a lot of our favorites and some of our favorites from overseas as well. I Hate
yeah,
God and stuff like that. So yeah.
yeah. When Max Cavalera is actually I think he's gonna be coming back to Australia or something like that, and I think they're
I
gonna be
think
doing what's that? Sorry.
I think that's maybe next month, maybe or next week. It's close, really soon. Soon.
Is it? If it's like
Yeah,
around
yeah, man.
February time, because I took some time off from work, and if they're playing, I'm pretty sure if it's around the 8th of February markish or something, man, I might go.
Yeah, yeah. I reckon that'll be a ripper show. And then you've also got great support for that one as well. You've got Alga Mortis as the tour support, which is
I was
awesome
gonna
local.
say, I was gonna say
Yeah.
like you guys would be a perfect fit with that.
Oh well, fuck Alga Mortis then. Never mind. Nah, dude, I'd love to do that. It's funny actually. We obviously we toured with Despise You and Andrew, who's in Despise You. Once they got back to the States, it came out that he is now playing in Nails, and Nails just did a run with I can't remember whether their run was with Soulfly or whether it was Cavalera Conspiracy or one of Max's many projects. But I saw him
Yeah.
posting some videos of Max coming out and doing some vocals with them and stuff. And I'm like, you just know that he would be the exact kind of dude who backstage would want to hang out,
Oh
chat.
yeah.
Like I reckon he'd be a really really cool dude to be a real dream.
Have you listened to his other band called Go Ahead and Die?
Is that the new one that he's got with his son? Is it his son?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's cool,
It's
man.
like fucking dude, it's like death metal with a bit of like 80s thrash skate punk vibe. It's fucking
Yeah, I was
awesome.
gonna say it's got heaps of punk in there, and I think it's great. I love that attitude of being like, oh man, I'm in between Cavalera world tours. What will I do? I'll just start another band, and I'll just go back
Yeah.
to the bottom of the bill because I saw
Yeah.
nearly all of the shit that they were doing was the opening support. So I'm like, yeah. So that's dedication, man. Like, all right, no time to rest. Let's get back out on the road. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
good on
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's his son is playing guitar and doing like the screaming vocal parts or something, or some
Yeah,
vocals
yeah.
parts and stuff. Fucking
Richie
fucking
Cavalera,
great
maybe.
band, dude. Great
Yeah.
band. If they ever come to Australia, man, I would have to go and see him and try and pinch Max and get him on his podcast. Oh, there's a list of people that I want to have on. Like, there's already some of my favorite artists that I've had on here, which is awesome. But then, like, I want to try and step it up to this next level and try and get some bigger guests on and stuff like that.
Would you ever
It's a slow
consider
grind.
getting?
What?
Yeah, yeah. Would you ever
Man.
consider? Sorry, would you ever consider getting horror guests on, or are you going to keep it strictly
Yeah,
metal?
I like to have a bit of a mix. I've got one. I got another recording tomorrow. She reached out to me, because I think I followed her account through another horror podcast page on Instagram, and then she sent me a message when I was at work. She's from LA or something. She's like, oh, I would like to be on your podcast. I'm like, yeah, man, fucking, I'll shoot you some dates, or just shoot me some dates or whatever. We can sort it out. And then I was going through her bio thing on Instagram. Like, she was like, she's an artist, director, visual effects maker.
Oh, awesome.
Fucking, she directed. She released a movie. Get this. This movie. It's a fucking puppet emo movie.
Oh, that's cool, man.
It's fucking yeah. She sent me a link to it with like, I think it was private or something like that. So she sent me a link. It was, oh, you gotta watch this. It's fucking it's nuts. And I watched it. I'm like, a fucking puppet zombie apocalypse movie. Like,
that rules, man. One of my top movies from last year was actually another like mostly puppet movie called Frankie Freako, which is done by the guys. It's a couple of the guys from Asteroid 6 who did. I'm
gonna write this down.
Oh, dude, yeah, Frankie Freako, and it's by the same guys who did another movie that I reckon would be well up your alley called Psycho Goreman. And
Psycho, Frankie, what was it?
Goreman, Goreman. And yeah, Frankie Freako is basically about this guy who the squarest square you could possibly imagine, and his wife's sort of getting to the rope's end. She goes away for a long weekend, and he's watching a television commercial for this party hotline to call Frankie Freako. He calls Frankie Freako, and unbeknownst to him, it unleashes these like heavy metal demon puppets into his house, and they party all weekend, and it changes his life forever. It's hilarious. It's gory. It's great, man. It's really, really fun. So yeah. On the tangential note of puppets, yeah.
Fuck yeah. To go back to the guests as well that I want on, I would really love to have Wednesday 13 from the Murder Dolls.
Oh, yeah.
Because that dude's a awesome. Fucking that guy is a full-blown horror nerd, and I've seen interviews. Like, he has probably the biggest collection than I have.
Oh yeah, man. He has one of those like envious collections. Yeah.
Yeah. There's that. AC Slade from Murder Dolls and Misfits. I would love to have him on as well. But I've reached out to him, and he said sure. But then like, he's busy with his coffee company, man. Like,
oh no shit. Yeah.
Yeah, with Catfight Coffee, and then I think he's gonna go back out on tour of the Misfits soon. So he's gonna have a busy 2025. So
yeah,
when the time's right, I think it might happen. But there's heaps of other guests that I would like to have on, and Kane Hodder would have been cool too to have him on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So let's dive into some horror stuff, because I think I've asked enough about your music stuff, which is cool because like your bands are like so new to me, and from what you've been telling me as well, it's sort of like I've learned like a bit more about it now. So thank you.
Yeah.
So how did you get into the world of horror, and how old were you when you got into it?
Oh, super young, man. I would have been like maybe 7, 8, 9. I don't know.
It's a good age.
Perfect age, man. Like, I reckon that's. Look, I've got a 7-year-old, man, and it's all Ghostbusters, Scooby Doo, like all of that kind of stuff. Like, I think there's definitely an importance in being scared at a young age, and it sort of being able to test your limits, but without completely overexposing yourself and watching something that well, trying to prevent that in my house, at least. But yeah, one of the first to meet Creature from the Black Lagoon, man. That's my horror origin story. My pop showed that to me, probably a little bit too young, but again, like, it was the last of the Universal monster movies, and it just it stuck with me. It's my favorite. It's one of my favorites, man. My son's seen it now. Yeah,
he loved it.
Yeah, he loved
Oh, good on him. He's a good band.
Yeah. No, he's very switched on.
No, good on him. Yeah, I remember. I was like very late to the Universal Monster, like universe stuff. But because I had Ace Von Johnson from LA Guns, and
Yeah,
he's a fucking horror fanatic too, man. He's got like fucking old vintage 70s like movie poster sheets that he bought
yeah.
for like, I don't know, 5 grand and shit. And like,
Yeah, that rules. Yeah.
yeah, he's a horror fanatic, but like, yeah, like sometimes he'll post up like him watching the Universal Monsters, or sometimes he'll mention that in his interviews and shit. So that kind of got me into it a bit. Obviously, I was a bit late for it, but watching Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein, like two like genius classic horror films of all time.
Oh, dude, James Wales. Like, I think that Frankenstein's obviously like it's beautiful. Like, it's also the narrative that everybody knows. It's not really Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I mean, it's so different to the novel. But I mean, that's the story of Frankenstein that lives in like public consciousness. But I think that Bride of Frankenstein's probably it's the shining gem in the Universal
Yeah,
horror lot. It's probably and I Preach from the Black Lagoon. Like I said, it's in my top five. It's absolute stone cold favorite. But it's so hard to argue that Bride of Frankenstein is not just such a gem of a movie. It's brilliant.
you reckon if that movie wasn't made 100 years ago, I'm just gonna say that, if that was made now, you reckon it would have been as good now than back then?
Well, dude, we're about to find out, aren't we? Because we've got Maggie Gyllenhaal doing her version of Frankenstein, which I believe comes out this year.
Really?
And yeah, and already from the early screens from it, I can't remember who's playing Frankenstein, but already uh, tattooed looking. The visual language is very different. And look, it's a reinterpretation. It's obviously not a literal just bang for bang Dracula, but
Yeah,
Frankenstein. But yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that the subtlety that a lot of those films have, just I don't know. I think I went and saw Nosferatu on
oh,
a
I'm
couple of
going to see
nights ago.
that tomorrow, so don't
Oh,
spoil
no
it. So I've
spoilers.
heard good
Don't worry.
things.
No spoilers. I won't spoil anything. Um, but again, another one of those things where I went and saw that, and even then, I still don't think it holds up to the original or even the Herzog version, because I think the film has changed so much, and the way that
Yeah,
we expect narrative to be fed to us and the visual language that we expect from film has
yeah,
changed so much, and I just don't think that there's enough trust in the audience almost, you know.
yeah, yeah. I think because with the technology that we have now, you could do whatever you want with those type of movies and shit. Um, so that's why I like the 80s horror,
Yeah.
like Halloween. Um, people will classifies that as a slasher movie, but personally to me, and I might get hate for this, but like it's a psychological horror movie. I don't really care what anyone thinks, but to me, that's a psychological horror movie. And I said this to some of my friends, and they agree with me as well. Because you don't see much. There
I
isn't
was
really
about to
that much
say
violence.
it's
Yeah,
almost a bloodless horror film in a lot of ways. Like there's so little in there. It's all about where is he? Where is he going to be? Like, yeah, you're 100% right. It's definitely a masterclass in tension for sure.
yeah. Because like I could just see that as like the OG of the psychological horror theme. You know what I mean? Because like even like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, they obviously that count that as a slasher as well, but then like it was barely very, you don't really see much.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I mean, that even then, like with those examples, like they're perfect films as well, in that you spend the entirety of the time so tense and so just what's going to happen next. And a lot of the time, you haven't even been until you do finally enter into, the second part of the film, or maybe the third act of the film. You don't even necessarily have reason to be that scared. Just
Yeah,
everything is you're just given these clues or these hints, or the music is telling you like this isn't right or something isn't right. Like I think that's the best, man. I think
yeah.
that's the whole point of cinema. It's show and don't tell. Yeah.
That's why how I got into the whole psychological thing, because like I like those the mind fuck movies where you're like, what the fuck's gonna happen? I'm like, there's no way it's gonna be that fucking guy that's been beat, that's behind it all along. And I was watching the movie Seven for the first
Yeah.
time. The one with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. And dude, that movie was so intense.
It says, I think that's a pretty good example of, again, how much cinema has changed even in the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
That movie is so it's funny that that movie was like a mainstream blockbuster almost. Like that
Yeah.
movie was, I think one of my favorite stories from high school is I knew this girl in high school, and her family were super conservative, very like lovely people, but like just very, white picket fence down the middle of the line. And they went to the cinema, and this is back before you don't have the internet and all of this shit. And so they see, oh, Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, new movie, Seven. We'll go see that. The group of
Yeah.
friends, and apparently they just came out absolutely traumatized. I mean, you just think about it, even just the knife dildo scene, and just oh man, I'm just thinking of
Yes.
these poor folks sitting at the cinema like, what am I watching? Like, oh yeah,
Yeah. And
wow.
and the ending. And sorry for spoiling it, guys, if you haven't seen it, but I highly recommend you to see it. If you guys have Stan, if you're living in Australia, anyone else, you can just watch it in maybe Amazon or whatever. The ending when he was like, he mentioned about his wife saying they had his wife's head as a souvenir,
Yeah.
and then Morgan Freeman's like, "Don't look in the box," and he's like, "What's in the box? What's in
Oh
the
man.
box?"
It's great, man, and I think that that's something that's definitely coming back, which is the downbeat ending, the nihilistic downbeat ending, because that movie really, to that point, almost doesn't feel like it has warranted an ending quite that bleak.
Yeah,
That you don't actually feel a lot of personal danger for the two main characters throughout the film. Like you're really happy to be with them, and the people who are being hurt, it's terrifying, but I don't think you realize that personal danger until you hit that third act, and then man, just what a bleak kicker of an ending. I fucking and that
I
beautiful aerial shot that it ends on, just the
yeah,
helicopter shot. You're just like, oh yeah, it's so good, it's great.
and and there was something on Facebook that the director was saying about the movie, how he thought it was a good idea not to shoot what was in the box because he wants. I guess his idea of that part was to have people think in their minds, thinking like, was it really her head? Was it really someone
Oh
else?
yeah,
It
100%.
could have been anyone. Which I said this to my friend of mine that I work with in the kitchen. Um, I said to him like, dude, I watched Seven and the ending was wild, but I reckon like, sorry, dude, but I have like weird predictions about things, but like, I reckon the killer was fucking with him about what's in the box. It could have been everything,
Yeah,
anything.
yeah. Dude, man,
And he's like,
it would surprise me with his level of menace, yeah.
yeah, because like it could have been his dog,
Yeah, so true.
his dog. It could have been someone that he loved minus his wife. Could have been like maybe a close friend, maybe somebody. Who knows? But I think that the way how that movie ended, and I pray to God that no one doesn't fucking reboot it. But like the way how it ended, it was perfect.
Yeah, no, no, yeah, a full 5-star movie.
But yeah, and I would definitely watch that again. And then after that, man, I just was just flicking through Stan, and I watched Kiss the Girls, the one with Morgan Freeman.
Girls, I don't think I've seen it.
It was like a detective movie. How he was trying to chase this serial killer that kidnapped his nephew. Then he had like a fucking other women that he had in the fucking cave and all this shit.
Cool. I've just added it to my list.
Yeah, it's I think it's 97. I think it
Yeah,
is. It's on
97.
Stan if you got it. And
Yep,
I
yep.
did some research on it last night before I went to bed. Um, Along Came a Spider is I think is like a sequel to that.
Oh, of course. That's a video shop cover that I always remember seeing, but I've never actually seen yet. But yeah,
Same.
no, that cover lives in my mind.
Yeah. So yeah, to go back to the to go back to what you were saying about your first horror movie and how you got into it. Um are you a fan of like franchises? Are you a fan of like the newer stuff that's out now? Like
Literally anything and everything, man. Like from the
yeah,
very beginning, like yeah, from Caligari and all of that original 1930 stuff, Faust and the Golem and all of that, right through to like like last year, I managed to thankfully in Melbourne we've got a lot of film festivals, so it's easier to do. But I made it to 73 films in the cinema last year, so like
yeah,
if it's new and it's horror and it's in the cinema, I'm 100% gonna go see it. But if I'm at home, I'm usually I'm usually it's 60s, 70s, 80s always. I mean, that's the golden. That's
the
where all
black
the
and
good shit
white.
is. Yeah, yeah, or even even moving into color, and you've got all these splashes, all of that like franchise, everything, man. If it's horror, or even if it's just a bit bleak or nihilistic, throw it my way. I'll
Yeah. See how I got introduced to horror. Um, it was Alice Cooper.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
It was I think it was a 1978 Welcome to My Nightmare. Um, I got the DVD of it because I know my dad got it for me for Christmas or whatever a couple of years ago. Like concert footage or whatever it was. And there's just so much stuff going around. It's fucking scary back when I was watching it. But
Oh,
yeah, but like Alice Cooper and Kiss is what drove me into horror. It might sound weird, but like they were like the king of like shock rock and theatrics and like with the face paint and with everything with what they done. Like it's kind of nuts,
oh
right?
no,
How
totally
music
goes
like
hand.
that can lead you. Yeah, how music like that can get you into horror. But like, say, like I got into horror when I was like maybe 11. Like I knew like the classics, like Child's Play, because I always go to my friend's house after school and like there'll be like movies and be like Child's Play and stuff. But I was just too fucking scared to see it because there was like a fucking red-headed doll with a fucking scissor with the Jack and
Yeah,
Box on the front cover. That scared the shit out of me. But yeah, Scream did it for me, dude. Scream,
yeah.
the first Scream movie, 12 years old. My mom and dad let me rent it at the video store. Love you
They're probably
guys.
like, "Oh, Drew Barrymore's in it or whatever. It'll be fine. I'm sure it's just a teen film." Yeah,
But
yeah, well,
here's another thing too. Like the same thing like with Seven, how with the opening it's sort of like with Scream, the opening act, Drew Barrymore. You think that she was gonna survive. We got fucked over with that one, didn't we?
yeah, yeah, straight up. Yeah, I remember that so
Yeah.
well, and that shot when she's hanging from the tree was one of the first pretty intense gore scenes I'd seen as well. Even at that
Yeah.
point, you might even be maybe familiar. Look, I'm a bit younger than you, so I think by the time I had seen Scream, I think I'd at least seen snippets of Scary Movie. So I think I'd already sort of like, Ghostface had already been fully parodied by this stage. So it's very in the modern lexicon or whatever. It's just the zeitgeist. But when I was watching that scene, I was like, oh yeah, yeah, and then when you're hit with that image, that final one when she's hanging from the tree, like, oh fuck, I'm in a completely different movie than I thought I was. This is actually way nastier. And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
Wes Craven
fucking
doesn't
nuts.
disappoint.
Have you seen the 4K issue of that movie? Have you watched it in
No, I
4K?
haven't, but I would love to. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's on Stan as well. Watch it in 4K, dude, because in that scene you can see every fucking detail.
Yeah, beauty. Yeah,
So
no,
clearly.
yeah. Did you see did you see, was it 6 or 7 that came out not last year, year before?
5 and 6, yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think?
Yeah. 5 was decent, I think. It's funny because me and my sister went and I dragged my mom to go out with us.
You don't
So
need
my
one to
mom's
form
like,
friends.
yeah, no. Yeah. And then yeah, it was okay. It was pretty fucking obvious who the killer was. Because they
I
kind of
wasn't a
give it
big fan
away
of the
too
new
easy.
characters. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of like the newer version of the first Scream movie, really. But
Yeah,
they
yeah.
brought back the old characters in it. 6 was average. I think the storyline was kind of was boring, to be quite honest. The opening
Is
scene was
6
pretty cool.
Is 6 the newest? Is that the one set in New York? Or is that 7?
Yes. No,
That is 6.
7's in production right now.
That's
They're
right. Yeah.
filming 7 right now, and 6 is where New York. So I
Yeah.
reckon they saw that idea from fucking Jason Takes Over Manhattan.
Oh, 100%. And you know, I think you could almost argue that they did as poor a job of using Manhattan as a. It's not it's almost inconsequential, but I that movie went for way too long. I feel like if you had cut that, I think it went for nearly 2.5 hours, maybe 2 and a
It's around
quarter.
the 2-hour mark, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if you had trimmed that down to a 90-minute movie, there would have been a 3-star Scream sequel in there. But with all the fat on there, it was just another disappointing step. But it's funny to see that for the production of the new one, all of those new cast members have stepped aside for some reason I can't remember or whatever. So they're bringing all the legacy characters back. So
Well,
and
except for Dewey. Dewey died in number 5.
yeah, of course. Which is, hey, look, never say never. They'll find a way to retcon it if they have to.
Yeah.
You know,
I push
it
all his
wasn't
guts
gonna
in.
be hard. It was they'll bring him back, but it won't be Dewey. It'll be his twin brother who lived 2 towns over, who you hadn't been introduced to yet, or like they'll find a way. Horror
Yeah.
never gives up its hero.
They always do that. They always bring that. They always bring back the dead in horror. But yeah, I cried when Huey died in the movies. I'm not gonna lie. And it's so funny. My sister was sitting right next to me, and she's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like,
yeah.
And another couple was sitting next to me, and he's like, "Is he okay?" It broke my heart because that dude was a fucking hero from day one.
He was, man. You should. I think it might also be on Stan, or it might be on Amazon. There's actually a great documentary on David Arquette, because he obviously talks about how those roles, some of those early roles, especially Scream, kind of maligned his career a little bit because he was suddenly the goofy guy or whatever. But it has this amazing arc where it talks about how he was a wrestler for WCW for a little while and showed up and in his first or second match or whatever, he took a title and became like the most hated guest appearance, blah 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 blah. But in the documentary, the narrative framing for it is he's going back to wrestling to do one more match, but he's doing a full death match against Nick Cage, one of the most fucked up deathmatch wrestlers, and he does it, and it is one of the gnarliest wrestling matches. So yeah, if you're a big David Arquette fan,
we're talking about this.
Yeah, it's great, man. It's gnarly, really gnarly. All I'll say is before the wrestling match, he says to Nick Gage, he goes, "Man, I'm fine with anything, but please just don't run the pizza cutter across the inside of my mouth." And I think that's pretty good context for how gnarly it is. Yeah.
Yeah, because me and a friend, because we did the Scream 5 reaction movie review for Pink Sock during lockdown and that. And yeah, we mentioned about that because I think the reason why they wanted to kill David Arquette's character off, I think it was because that he he wanted retired as an actor. He didn't want to do
Oh,
any more movies
course.
anymore.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, because
think
I don't think,
that was one of the reasons why.
of course, yeah, yeah. Rest in peace, Dewey.
Yeah, because like I think because I think he was still wrestling at the time, and like being in professional wrestling and doing that, and as well with acting, man, your body will be so fucked up after doing all that shit. Like
Oh,
I don't know
100%.
how he does it.
No,
Really don't
absolute
know how he
madness.
does it. What do you think of what's your prediction for Scream 7? Because hopefully it's the last one. I know Nev Campbell will be back, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
What's your
I'm
prediction?
trying. I'm trying to remember who wrote the original script. Kevin Williamson. So Kevin Williamson wrote the original script, and then obviously he sort of became the go-to guy throughout the '90s for rewrites. So he famously did the rewrite on The Faculty. I think he was a script advisor on I Know What You Did Last Summer and all of those things. And then he also went on to do fuck, I might be wrong about this, but either the Gilmore Girls or the OC, one of those huge teen TV shows. So he's always someone who's
Yeah.
had, and like, look, everyone calls it Wes Craven's Scream, and it's obviously his eye, but he didn't write the script. Kevin Williamson did. It was his idea that Craven took and made what it is now. But I believe Kevin Williamson is directing Scream 7. So I don't know.
Ah,
You've got the guy who wrote the original coming back. You've got the new characters have all been fucked off. You're bringing your legacy characters back. So it, it's probably the best chance that there'll ever be of there being a good post Scream 3 sequel. Personally, not the biggest fan of 4, but
nah,
yeah,
same.
I think that 2's awesome and 3 is good fun, but 4 was just like I couldn't even just the cinematography for it. I couldn't understand what the fuck the choices were. But
It kind of felt like it went to that scary movie vibe a little bit with all the
it
fucking
it looked like an
with all
episode of
the
Days of Our
fucking
Like
yeah.
4 had TV level cinematography and just it was just yeah, man. It was fucking shit.
Yeah, no,
I
I totally agree.
got a funny story for that one though. I saw that when it came out, and I took a heap of mushrooms, and that obviously famously has that fake out intro where it fakes out like 4 times to the TV, and everything had kicked in by then. I turned to my friend, I said, "Fuck me, what's going on? Like, is the movie ever going to start?" And that's all I remember after that. I rewatched. I did a big Scream rewatch recently, and I was like, yeah, it was shit. Never mind.
Yeah. Are you a fan of remakes? Like, do you like old classic horror movies getting rebooted?
Dude. Here's my thing. I have absolutely no problem with it. And 9 times out of 10, I'll go and watch it. I think that it depends. I think the problem is a lot of the time the movies that get chosen to be remade are good movies. I think there's so many shit movies that have great ideas behind them that are way more deserving of being remade. Like, I've heard that the two that scare me the most is Charles Lawton's Night of the Hunter from 1955 is apparently going into production of a remake, and Zulawolski's Possession from 1981 is also supposed to be getting remade. And I fucking adore those two films, and I think that they're widely regarded as basically perfect films. I mean, general sense, not everyone. What's feels a bit redundant maybe to go back and do that when there's other films, even maybe from the filmographies from both of those filmmakers filmographies, that would be so much more worthy of what we can do now with technology and script rewrite and all of these things. But
The
man,
amount of CGI that they use in horror movies now, it's ridiculous. It's crazy.
it was the biggest that was the biggest Achilles heel for Nosferatu for me. I think the
Just
original
the
Nosferatu.
CGI.
Yeah, and I think with the original Nosferatu, you have a movie that is like it's one of the most important pieces of cinema of all time. It is a actual piece of art. Like you could have that being screened 24/7 in an art gallery. Like it's perfect. And it's so entirely tactile. And then you have Werner Herzog, who's remade it and able to maybe do more of what they had to imply through a bit of an expressionist lens. You're able to do these insane, plague scenes or whatever. And now we've arrived at this version where you can go even further and do even more. But in doing that, you've lost, for me, that tactility and that sense of realism, place that's so important in a lot of those other films. But yeah, look, man, I even went and saw the Speak No Evil remake last year, so I'll go see a movie that was. Yeah, I'll go see anything. So yeah, a lot of the times I know it'll be a hate watch, but yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's so, but it's funny for me though because I've watched reboots before I've watched the original.
Yeah,
for some reason, and it's probably the way how I just kind of see it or something. When I first saw the movie and shit, seeing the movie advertised and stuff like that. But for an example, Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot for me was fucking great, and I haven't even seen the original one. But then a few years later after that, then I went and bought the I think it was like the 50th anniversary or whatever it was, DVD of it, and I watched that, and I'm like, this is completely different, but fuck, it's pretty full on too, you know. With Leatherface's character though, it's even more terrifying in the original than what it was in the reboot.
Yeah, 100%. I actually, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre ones are funny, man. I've got a weird one with those because I really like all the shit ones that go in between. I fucking love Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 or 4 Next Generation, where it's just totally kooky, totally weird. I also kind of low key don't mind. It was one of the spin-offs from the Michael Bay remake, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, for being probably
that was good.
It's so fucking mean-spirited, man. It is so mean-spirited. And I think a lot of people have that thing of being like, oh, it was so violent for no reason, and the original one wasn't, blah, 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 blah. But we're making a remake. We're making a prequel to a remake. Let it be violent. Let it be mean-spirited. Really, I don't know. Not everything has to be high up,
Well, it's funny though because then they brought out a few years later they brought out Leatherface. So Leatherface was like a prequel of a prequel.
Yeah. That I did.
If that makes sense.
I was not a fan of that.
I've never seen it.
It's shit, man. And as a completionist, I had to watch it. You might. There's another. I think there's 2 more after that as well because there's Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D.
Oh, that was shit too. That was fucking terrible. Dumb.
Yeah, that was. And then what's the new one that's on Netflix? Texas Chainsaw.
The direct sequel from the 1974.
That movie
is that 74?
Yeah. That movie isn't good, but again, it has a few sequences. The sequence on the bus is pretty damn good, and there's a few great shots. Yes. But overall, terrible film.
Terrible acting too.
yeah, real bad.
And trying to bring back. What's that? Sorry. Oh no, I was gonna say about them trying to bring back the main character from the original that's been dead in real life for 20 odd years or whatever it is. So they brought out another person to play that character.
And then to just kill her, yeah. Oh my god, yeah, dude. Seriously, I think that's. I watched the movie and I actually don't think I realized the first time because I must have been on my phone or whatever. And then I listened to a podcast where they retrospectively did the whole Texas Chainsaw, and they got to that one and they were like, "Look, I just watched all of these fucking movies basically in a week. So I'm telling you right now that the newest one, it's not as bad as you think. because I'm telling you, I've just watched Next Generation. I've just watched this one and this one.
So
And
what can be personally more worse than those ones?
yeah. And so I was like, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna go back and give it a rewatch. And yeah, like I said, it's not a great movie. There's a few really good shots. There's a few real, especially that's in the like the poppy field or whatever he's in. It's great. But the scene
Oh,
on
that
the
was cool.
bus is fucking fun. But it's all just wrapped up in a movie that's just a total load of bollocks.
But could you see, like, I don't want to say like if this happens in real life, but like, could you see if something similar like that happened, and everyone just popped out their phones just for the fucking, so they can check.
Dude, get on
fucking
Reddit
dumb.
right now. Get on Reddit right fucking now, dude, because that's all it is. It's just footage of like mass shootings and natural disasters and all this shit. And it's like, oh yeah, better get me phone out. Like, yeah.
Yeah, gotta get those likes and followers happening.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
fucking idiots, man. I
Yeah.
hate people like that. But yeah, there's that. Like, I love the reboot and I love the original, and I do have a Leatherface pillow on my bed.
Oh, beautiful. Hell yeah.
I got a
That rules,
blanket in
yeah.
the living room, but I'll show you the pillow, dude. You'll love it. So it's a 2-sided pillow.
Oh, that rules.
Yeah. Fucking H1 Johnson, when I had him on for the first time, he was just like looking at for the whole time of the podcast.
Oh, that's ripper, man. That's so cool. Yeah, I love the hair and shit. That's sick.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Had this. Boy, it's fucking awesome, dude. And they got Jack Skeleton with me as well.
You can tell true horror nerds because I've also got horror pillows on my bed. I've got the the stained glass window from Suspiria. I've got 2 cushions on my bed. The other stained glass window pattern from Suspiria.
That's awesome. And I've got a Jason Voorhees lamp just right next to the other lamp in there as well.
You got me beat there. I've just got a salt lamp, so yeah, fuck.
Oh, I've got a salt lamp too, but I don't use it, so I just put the Jason one there. It just looks good and stuff like that. But yeah, to go back with reboots, it all depends on how it's done. I thought Rob Zombie's version of Halloween was amazing. The reason why I say that is because his story is completely different from the original, and like he has more of a story on Michael Myers and on how he became a serial killer, and and that movie was more focused on him. But like with the original, like the concept was cool, everything's like was awesome and shit, but like Halloween is like the original Halloween to me is like based on Laurie Strode.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I think for me with the Rob Zombie one, I love the Rob Zombie, the first one when I was younger, like when I was
House of 1,000 Corpses.
Yeah. Oh, dude, House of 1,000 Corpses was
like
essential, total essential text for me growing up. That and Devil's Rejects were like, total essential text. But I think Halloween, his remake of Halloween 1's good. I think where it downfalls is where he tries more directly to remake the second half of the film, where it becomes basically a closer to the remake of the original.
Yeah,
that's almost where it falls down, because I almost felt like that was the studio being like, we get that you're doing your thing, we're happy with that, but we still need this to look like a Halloween remake. We still need this. But number 2, man, they just let him off the fucking reins. I actually love how fucking weird number 2 is. It's so odd and just the ghost stuff. I look, man, it's not a perfect film at all. But
no, he got fucked over with those films too.
Yeah, hard out, man. Well, I mean, I think he's been fucked over on just about every movie he's ever made.
Yeah, but I think from what I remember from a podcast interview, I think it was, I can't remember which one it was, but he didn't want to do Halloween 2. I think they just say, you still have like a contract to do these Halloween movies or whatever it was. So
yeah, that almost kind of reads, because it's like number 2 almost does feel like a fuck you to the studio, because it is almost inaccessibly weird. Like if you're an average film goer and you go see Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, you're not walking out with any reaction other than what the fuck I just watch. Like, it's a very strange film, but I think it's all the better for it. Like, out of the Halloween franchise, man, like my outside of obviously 1 and 2 almost work as one film for me. Like, I think it's 1 and 2.
Yes.
They've got the transition. Da 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 da. 3, I absolutely adore. I think that
Yes.
Season of the Witch is it's almost my favorite. I almost like it more than 1 and 2. It's so good.
I liked it because it was its own like standalone movie.
And it's just got the best vibe. There's something about the soundtrack and Tom Atkins. It's kind of like a road movie, but not. And then it's kind of like almost it's very Nigel Neal,
Yeah.
Quatermathian. So it's very weird. But yeah, man, call it blasphemous. I know a lot of people would slap me for this. But other than like those original 3, my favorite is I think number 5, the one where they try and make it that Michael Myers was in the fucking death cult and all of that. It's again not a good film. Like, it's
No.
technically very
5 and
flawed.
6 was bad.
Actually, sorry, are they the 2 with the psychic girl?
So number 4 was with Danielle Harris as
That's
the
right.
little girl. And then I
Sorry.
think 5, that's when he had the weird makeup, the weird fucking
Yeah, and
just
Daniel Harris
squash.
comes back, but only for the first 10 minutes. They either kill her or they send her to a school and it kind of goes off to house. So it wouldn't be, so that'd be 5. 6 is the one that I like. The one with Paul Rudd in it, with the Cult of the Thorn.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fucking stupid, dude. But again, it's weird. It's so weird and so different that I'm like, oh, this is what I want to watch. I want to watch someone do something new with Michael Myers. And that one sticks out for me, and that's why I really, really like it. I feel that's why the reboot, the David Gordon Green reboot trilogy did absolutely nothing for me because I felt like I'd already seen these stories. It didn't give me anything new. But like,
Yeah.
as fucking dumb as that Paul Rudd one is, I'm like, give me the death cult, give me
Oh,
the
dude,
baby sacrifice and all this weird shit.
the new Ant-Man movie, he goes back to 1991.
Yeah.
And goes back to the Halloween 6 French timeline.
Yeah, dude, I reckon if he went back to that timeline, the only thing he'd change is him auditioning for that movie.
Ant-Man's like, Michael, and Michael's just like just looks at him. Yeah, fucking there was a funny story with number 6 at the start of the film where the girl gets killed. Jamie Lloyd. That one was played by Danielle Harris.
Down in that underground tunnel bunker thing. Yeah.
She escaped like the asylum or some shit. She gave birth to a kid.
Yeah.
So Danielle Harris was supposed to be in that movie, but I think they didn't want her anymore. They wanted someone that was a little bit more older and stuff like that for the role. And then they fired her or something like that.
I think what happened was they offered her a ridiculously low fee. I think the fee that they offered,
that too.
Yeah, like the role, like I think they basically said, because I think they had, I don't think it was contractually, but yeah, you're right. Like, she was told that, like, yeah, you're in the movie, and because they filmed a lot of those ones back to back, those Dimension ones, to save money and time and everything like that. So yeah. I remember hearing about that. But, yeah,
I think she was probably maybe early like 16 or something at the time. So I think maybe with that timeline, they wanted someone a little bit more older.
Yeah,
for that role. But fuck, man, that was her. I'm pretty sure that was her major role, was Halloween 4 and 5.
Yeah, and then back again for Rob Zombie.
Yes, I was going to get to that because Danielle Harris playing what was her name
in the Rob Zombie one?
Yeah, shit, it's Brad Dwarf's daughter.
Yeah, I can't remember for the life.
Something Brackett or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was good. Halloween 2, Rob Zombie Halloween 2, dude. I defend that movie. I fucking hated it before. The more I think, the more I watch it, the more I respect it. But to me, and I said this to my buddy Zach, from Pennsylvania, had him on this podcast too, a few times, and he agrees that Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, he loved it more than the first one. And
Yeah, I
I
think
I
that's kind of
probably
where I'm
don't really agree with that, but like to me, that one was more like a complete mindfuck psychological slasher horror movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
Oh, so you mean
um,
he likes number two more than he likes the original?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, I'm not quite there. I'm not quite there, but yeah, no, I still appreciate the fuck out of it. Yeah,
yeah. But like, see, like I'm on the Halloween group fucking Facebook thing. I don't really post much on it. I just like reading people's stupid comments. You
yeah,
could tell when someone's fucking a fake fan or just trying to blend in because they're wearing a Michael Myers t-shirt or some shit like that. And I'll be like, someone um, posted up saying, "This, what's your favorite Halloween movie in the franchise?" So I said number 3. And then I
yeah,
had a few people say, "Well, 3 sucked because Michael Myers isn't in it." Because I'm like, well, maybe because like the franchise was meant to end at number 2, and I didn't know what they were going to do with the fucking story, so they wanted to do something a little bit more different. But under Halloween, to me, I think
yeah.
Michael Myers is more of a cash grab thing now.
Oh, 100%, man, 100%.
You
I think
know,
that last reeks of that
yeah.
for sure.
But to stay on the topic with reboots, I didn't like The Strangers, the reboot of The Strangers. That was horrible.
I haven't seen it yet. I'll wait for all three to be out, and I'll watch
Yeah,
all
you're gonna wait
three.
for the 3?
Dude, I already know that I'm gonna hate it, so let's just sit down one afternoon and have a real big hate watch, yeah? So I've heard that
Yeah,
it's fucking shocking, though. Like, I've heard that, like,
dude. When
it's
all
just yeah.
3 comes out, let's do a movie review together.
Yeah, yeah, sounds good, man. I'd be keen as on that. Yeah, nah, I,
Yeah,
can't understand the logic on that, but, yeah, yeah. Well, we'll have
yeah.
number 2 soon enough.
I think number 2 is coming out earlier this year, and I think the 3rd one will be like a year or 2 after, because I kind of
Yeah,
felt like the reboot was already out last year, and they're already
yeah,
announcing
yeah.
that
Well,
the second one was already wrapping up. So I'm
no, nah,
assuming it's
dude,
like bang bang.
they filmed all 3 back to back. They all 3 of
Holy
them.
shit!
Yeah, yeah,
No
and the
way.
plan was to drop them all really close to each other. But yeah, because
Then you
they
can
didn't even
connect it.
actually announce. I don't think that the pre-production got announced to the press, and when it did get announced, they dropped a poster and a release date, and obviously the director's done something else. I can't remember. But they dropped that and with the information of, oh yeah, by the way, this is a trilogy, and by the way, we've already filmed all of them and they're coming. And so I think that with the critical reception to two, I don't to one, I don't think two would have gotten green. I think it would have been dead in the water. But because they're
Yeah,
already in the can done, we're getting them whether we like it. So
yeah. I didn't like the storyline. The first one still scares the shit out of me. Because like home invasion movies for me, they freak me out, man. Like the Purge, like the first Purge movie. I
yeah.
watched
I,
that. It was like a few months ago or whatever, and that fucking still scares me too, man. Like
have you ever
shit
seen
like
Funny
that.
Games?
Yes,
Man,
fucking
that's
hell,
a
dude.
yeah, dude. That's a hell of a home invasion film. That's really good. I there's a good horror podcast I listen
Was it
to
the
called
reboot that you watched? Because I watched the reboot.
No, I watched the Michael Haneke original, and then I went to watch the reboot, but I got about 15 minutes in, and I was like, I watched the
Ah,
original
okay. See,
maybe
I
2
watched the
like a
reboot
month.
first.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But look, they're frame for frame, word for word. Like they're literally identical films. So I've been told that the from people who have seen both, they're like prefer the original because it's Haneke's original vision. It's just it is what it is. But if you've seen the reboot and that's all you've seen, you're still getting the exact same movie. It's actually remade by the director of the original. Michael Haneke directed both
Yeah,
So it's the
right.
same script. He basically just said that he didn't think that the I think he said something along the lines of the poignancy of the message from the film has only increased over time, whereas I think that the reach of the film has decreased. So I'm going to essentially remake the film into English with huge actors, and you basically give it another run. And it obviously worked. I mean, the film was met with great critical
Yeah.
reception. It's still really one of those really highly regarded for that era of mid 2000s horror. But
Yeah,
yeah, the
I
original.
watched the reboot and it was crazy.
If you haven't seen the reboot in a while, the original's totally worth watching. If you've seen them
Yeah.
close together, it kind of feels a bit like what. Yeah.
I kind of feel like they did that with Pet Cemetery.
Is that the reboot they put out for that
Yeah, it was like a few years ago. And
with?
then they did Bloodlines a year
That's right.
after that one, I think it was. So it
Who
came
was
out in
the
2022, Bloodlines did. But I think the reboot came out in 2019, I think. I can't remember.
yeah,
But like I watched the original as well, and it was very fucking similar
yeah.
from that, except for the boy, I think it was the I can't really remember the original which one dies. The girl dies in the original one.
That's right. They swap it, don't they?
And yeah,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
boy gets killed in the reboot, but it's still frame for frame, it's sort of like the same.
yeah. But
Yeah, I
it's a
kind
good
of wish
trick
they
out
stopped
because
doing that.
yeah, it's almost a good fake out though because you're thinking, oh fuck, the little boy, and then when the little girl gets hit, you're like, oh man.
Yeah. And another one too was horrible. Was fucking The Crow. That was horrible.
I'm not. I'll tell you what, man. That came out and that pushed me to. So I haven't seen it. I have no intention of watching it. But everyone was like, "This is going to be the worst Crow movie. I can't believe they made another Crow movie." Blah 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 blah. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, "Fuck off! They've already made 4 other Crow movies that were all really bad." So of course, naturally, I went and watched them all, and fuck me dead. Holy shit! Crow 2, City of Angels is as a heavy metal movie, I would
Yes.
call it new metal cinema. It's passable. It's fine. It's really good if you've got a hangover on a Sunday afternoon.
Was Iggy Pop in that movie?
Yes, Iggy Pop is doing anything but acting in that movie. It is fucking
Yeah,
atrocious.
he played as T-Bird. Yeah. No.
Uh no, he
No,
has a
T-Bird
Sunny
was in the
Day.
first one.
Yeah, no,
I
he's got a really stupid name in it.
because his death in Crow 2 City of Angels, um, he gets strapped into the fucking car
Yeah, yeah.
and he gets drove into the fucking gasoline tanks and shit. Yeah.
His character
That's
name is Curve. So lame. But yeah, like,
I could
look,
see
if
that as his stage name.
yeah, oh man, but yeah, look, if you think City of Angels is bad, it only gets worse with I think the next one's either Absolution or Salvation, and that is it's one of
Oh,
those like
Edward Furlong.
no, dude, there's one in between, right? There's one in between it, Edward Furlong. I can't remember who plays him, but it is the real like it's the real sore thumb. That is really the worst spot out of the original 4. The Edward Furlong one is bad. It's definitely bad, but it hits a
Yes.
level of unhinged in the last 30 minutes that I couldn't imagine. When Dennis Hopper pops up playing a satanic wedding celebrant in the end of the
Yeah.
movie, I was just like, you know what? Actually, I think I low-key like this. This is fucking insanity. I don't know what's going on. It's absolute insanity. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what was going on.
It was poorly written as well, but with this new one, it was like obviously like the first one was like a love story, but with this reboot was like a fucking love story, but like I show you how they met and they fucking met in a prison.
I did hear some shit about that. Yeah, it just looked bad. A massive reliance on CGI and digital and stuff like that. Just yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I don't think I can do it. I think maybe give me a couple of years and I've lost a couple more brain cells through fucking
Wait for the
yeah
20-year anniversary of it and then watch it.
yeah. Wait till it's gained some cult value or something.
Yeah. I want to get down to your horror collection because from your background, for what I see, is quite impressive.
Yeah, dude, I got heaps of shit in here, man. Fucking walls of it all
Holy
around.
Wow. How long
Yeah,
did
heaps.
that took you to have that
Uh,
that collection?
I started collecting pretty young, man. So pretty much as soon as I could own physical media, I've been
Yeah.
buying it. Yeah, like I've got DVDs that I actually, funnily enough, I think I still have my original copy of The Crow that I would have bought like 17 years ago on DVD and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
we obviously both just grew up during that age where it's like if you loved it and you wanted to watch it more than once, the only way to do that was to own it or to be lucky enough to tape it off TV. And if you're taping it off TV, it's usually midnight because horror movies, you can sneak it past mum and dad or whatever. But if you're able to go to the video shop and buy a DVD or take a DVD home, like there's just nothing better. And now we sort of live in this wild golden age of like boutique Blu-ray 4K where it's like now, I get the movie I love in the best presented quality it could possibly be. I have all the special features, so if I ever want to indulge in that, I can. But then you have brilliant thinkers, film historians, and people critical theory writing on the film. So you just got all these extra layers of context, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know, it's awesome.
Yeah. It's a hobby, man. If it's something that you
Yeah,
love, man, fucking just
100%.
stay with it. Do you have a favorite collectible item that you have?
Yeah, I got a couple. Probably. So really nice Mondo Vision imprint
Oh,
public
that's cool. Yeah.
Zero. It's got this nice like little
Did they reboot
velvet.
that movie too?
I think it's coming. Yeah, they've said that it's coming.
Or they did like a TV show or some shit like that?
No, they're doing a movie. Yeah,
Okay,
so
gotcha. So I thought I might have seen it pop up somewhere. Oh,
I'm
that's cool,
scared.
dude.
But yeah. The lead actress in Nosferatu has actually said that she took a lot of her inspiration from Isabella Under in
That's
Possession. And
cool. Yeah.
when you watch Nosferatu, you'll definitely see it. It's definitely
Yeah, when I go and see it, I'll let you know what I think. And we can probably do a movie review together with that one as well if you like, man. I'd like to have you back on and just
hell
talk
yeah, man.
more horror and shit because we've been chatting for like an hour and 20 minutes already, but I feel like
Yeah.
you and I connected so well easily just by like talking about our favorite things together, which is cool. And this is what I love about doing these podcasts, is because I get to connect with people. I get to listen to their stories and learn more from them because now it feels like I've learned a little bit more about them now than prior before.
Yeah,
And that.
100%,
So
man.
thank you, dude. I appreciate you. I really do. But I'll show you my favorite.
Oh, dude,
Ta-da.
that rules. So good,
Yeah,
man.
man. I've had this baby for maybe 9 years.
Yeah. I'll tell
Yeah.
you what, actually, is it in reach? I've got an unboxed NECA Captain Spaulding somewhere in the house somewhere. And
Oh,
it
that's
had
sick.
little his hands were interchangeable so that way he could hold the two items that it came with, but the interchangeable hands were both just middle fingers up.
See, mine. I think mine. Oh yeah, mine's with the hat, so you could take the hat on and off.
Yeah, that rules.
And I've got like a little Chucky one too. You can switch the hands with like the knife or like the scissors or something like that, or just have two hands. You collect Funko Pops or anything?
Mostly NECA stuff these days, man. Like,
Yeah, I've got
room.
a Halloween Michael Myers Funko Pop, and I've got a Jack Skeleton one just sitting right there next to my laptop. But in the living room, I went to Utopia Records. You've been to Utopia Records in Sydney
Yeah,
when you've been there?
they've always been for us.
Yeah, I bought a Halloween 2 7-inch figurine.
Sick.
From Utopia.
Those old school style ones.
You want me to go and grab it for you?
No, I think I know the exact one you're talking about.
I'll send you a photo of it. Yeah,
we
but
we did our 7-inch, and we put it. We did a little in-store thing at Utopia. So yeah. We still like smoking records while like stuffing my bag full of shit.
Yeah, you probably would have seen it there, and I think you can change the hand with a knife or something like that. But it's about like that big. I've got that. I've got a couple of like latex like horror masks. I've got like Captain Spaulding and Art the Clown. That's in my living room.
Yeah.
And I'm Alice Cooper, obviously. I classify him as a horror icon.
Dude, 100%.
Yeah, that, and I've got like a couple of cool printouts in the living room too, as well. I've got like this really. I'm a big fan of Terrifier, especially like from the last two. I got like the big ass printout of Art the Clown of the scene. Have you seen Terrifier 2?
Yeah.
The scene where he's in the fucking in the store and he was like fucking clowning around and he's like changing sunglasses and shit. Yeah, I got him that. I got a big poster frame of that, but with the red sunglasses it's like a stars or something, and he's like holding his like this. I got that print out in the living room. But yeah, there's other stuff that I want to buy. I think JB Hi-Fi. I saw in JB Hi-Fi it was like a doll size Annabelle and Ghostface figurine I want to buy as well, just for the collection.
Oh yeah, man! I'm lucky. My brother works at JB Hi-Fi, so I'm always messing him. Hey, just a discount.
yeah, 50% off, bro. Come on, man.
yeah, you gotta have a look up.
Well, Jake, let's finish off with top 5 horror movie. Actually, let's do this one. I want to do something different. Let's do your top 5 favorite horror and top 5 worst horror movies.
Fuck, man. Top 5 is pretty easy, man. Look, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Possession already came up. They're super high on the list. Castle Freak by Stuart Gordon. It's a weird one. Everyone knows Stuart Gordon for Reanimator and From Beyond and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's a good movie. I've seen that. That's when they're in the woods, yeah.
Yeah, man. Which one? Sorry.
That's the one, Reanimator. Is that the one that's in the one in the woods?
No, it's mostly set in a hospital. It's about a doctor who sort of like creates this serum.
Okay, so I was thinking of the other one.
Yeah, no, dude, you will love Reanimator. If you're into like 80s gore, that is dude.
Fuck yeah, I'll write that down tue.
You'll love that. Another Stuart Gordon, probably From Beyond, and rounded out with a modern one, Kill List from 2006 by Ben Wheatley. If you like psychological stuff, man, it's a British film. It's about 2 hitmen who decide to take on one final job, but there's something wrong about the job, and that's all I'll say. It's for the most part what feels like a very tense domestic drama until you very quickly realize that you're in a horror film.
Nice.
Fuck, man. Top 5 worst horror movies is absolutely such a hard question. For a modern one, I went last year and I saw the first movie I saw at the cinema last year was Night Swim.
That was horrible.
Haunted swimming pool movie with a baseball subplot. Fuck me dead. Yeah, that was I wasn't a fan of that. Shit, man, you've actually full got me stumped. I'm trying to think of something that I actually like watched. Man, I hated that. I think that I'm bad as well. I'll usually find something that I like.
Yeah, I actually just thought about this one just now.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to think about the movie that pisses me off. I really hated the. I really hated because it had so much potential as well. Was the remake of um, The Thing, um, because they had built all of the. They had touted in the press leading up to it that they had built all of these beautiful practical effects, and the studio made them chuck it all in the end, and they did everything was digital, and yeah, just what what a bummer. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't add anything. Um, yeah. I'm actually trying to look on my letterbox to find movies that I really hated. I really didn't like Evil Dead Rise. I wasn't a
Oh,
fan of
you
that.
didn't like it? I
And
loved
it's
it.
dude, unpopular opinion. Hey, I think that for me, absolute diehard Evil Dead fan. That's Evil Dead 2 should probably be in my top five. But it felt like for me that it was a possession movie that had landed on Sam Raimi's desk, and Sam Raimi had gone, you know what? I could rewrite this into an Evil Dead film. And a lot of the time I'm fine with that, but it just didn't have any of what I wanted. I loved the remake. I thought the remake was great. I loved Ash versus
Yes.
Evil Dead, but yeah, that fell short for me. And one I watched recently was I watched the second Hell House LLC film. I really enjoyed the first one. The second one
Yeah.
was absolute fucking trash. Like, when you watch the movie and like you've got it on DVD, so you're like, I have to finish this, and I have to finish the sequels because I own this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that that was a burden, and I still know what you did last summer. There you go.
Oh, that was
There's a
horrible
burden.
too. That was
That was
fucking trash as shit.
yeah, man. And look, I still know what you did last summer is by no means a perfect horror film, but I still know what you did last summer is like, fuck, man. Watching paint dry is probably a more exhilarating activity.
I'll give you my top 5 favorite horror and worst horror movies. So my list always changes with when it comes to top 5 horror movies. It all depends on the mood and what you're into or whatever what you want to watch. But then I would probably go Terrifier 3 because that's like the ultimate Christmas slasher movie. um and it hit number 1 in the box office, surprisingly.
Highest grossing R-rated independent film of all time, which is
Take
insane.
that, Deadpool and fucking Joker.
Yeah, fucking.
Yeah, so I went Terrifier 3, House of a Thousand Corpse. See, because then now the last 3 gets really tricky, but then I would go with the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Scream 1, and then probably Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Classics, man. Banger.
Yeah.
Banging.
See, but with the top 5 worst horror movie remake horror movies that I've seen will probably have to be Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. That was
Yeah.
fucking stupid. So dumb. A friend of my mate, he loved it. I'm like, dude, this is just stupid. And you give me
Yeah.
shit for watching B-graded horror movies.
Yeah.
That was shit. The reboot of Pet Cemetery was horrible. Like I was saying
Yeah.
to you before, it was kind of like frame by frame from the original. That was terrible. Halloween 6.
Yeah.
was,
Yeah. Okay. I'll cop it.
yeah, Halloween 6 and Halloween Ends. So that's 4.
Yeah.
Halloween Ends
Hate
was
it.
just like, yeah, it was just dumb. And then I would probably the most hated horror film will have to be the reboot of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Saw it once in the cinema and haven't been back. Yeah. Won't
Yeah,
ever. I think. Yeah.
I haven't. I didn't think I saw that in cinemas. I think I just waited till it came out on DVD. Then I bought it.
Yeah.
It was horrible. Like I
Yeah.
feel like all the other actors and actresses were cool and shit with that movie, but it's just like the storyline, like the dude's makeup, like his face. He looked like a fucking burnt animal. Like it was horrible. Yeah.
It was also suffered from that same period of being like, it took a film that in the original, I don't think the word pedophile is even ever used. I think it might be just implied. I think it's only in 2 or maybe by 3 that it's explicitly said that that is exactly what he is. But that movie hammers it so hard, but in a way that doesn't feel like it's sensitive towards survivors of sexual assault, rape, or anything like that. And it's just so fucking mean-spirited to just cover up the fact that it didn't really have a very good script. It probably didn't have really much use of being written when it was. So you're just kind of left with a really mean-spirited subpar entry into this final entry into the series where you get to see anything else since that.
Wasn't it meant to be an original director that was gonna do Nightmare, but then he pulled out from it?
I can't remember. It's all buried in my
memory.
Or
was it another actor that was supposed to play Freddy Krueger before Robert Englund? And then I think Wes Craven was saying something about like he was like a child predator or some shit like that, or like kidnaps dreams in his kids in their dreams or some shit.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, that was horrible. But the list can go on for both of us when it comes down to that stuff, because I've seen so many fucking trashy horror movies, I still sat through it.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And just feel like this was dumb.
100%, man. 100%.
But Jake, thank you very much, my friend. It was really awesome hanging out with you for like an hour and 36 minutes. Again,
you're a legend. Thanks so much.
I really appreciate you. So what's next for you, Jake? What's going on? And any touring plans happening up with Choof and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's it, man. We're on tour next week. So we will be next Wednesday, we'll be in Brisbane, and then Thursday we're in Canberra, Friday we're in Sydney, back in Melbourne, Saturday, Geelong, Sunday, and then for Australia Day, Monday, we will be in Adelaide. And all of that will be to promote the new album. So I've got here a very special blend of psychology.
Oh, that's cool. I like it because it looks pretty cool because it's plain, just black and white. It's fucking awesome. Simple, basic.
Fucking oath. So yeah, come down to a show, come get spat on, give us some fucking money. Come tell us why Halloween.
If you get spit on, guys, don't get offended. It's just part of the show.
Fucking oath. Or get offended. I don't give a fuck. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Legend.
Yeah. All right, guys. Everybody follow him on social media, on Instagram, Spotify, Facebook as well.
Get on it. I'll be on it somewhere.
That I'll put all the links in the description. Anyone that is new to this, please like and subscribe and share this episode to all your friends, please. I will really appreciate it. And support this man. This guy plays in 3 different fucking metal bands, and he's an animal in a good way.
You're a fantastic.
Hopefully I'll see you in Wollongong, dude. It'll be nice to meet up in person, dude. I'd love to hang out with you.
Hell yeah, man. We're no strangers to the gong.
Yeah. Well, I don't drink anymore, but like we still just hang out and just fucking talk shit and talk horror movies, man. But guys, until next time, my name's Adam G. This is Jake. See you all next time, my friends. Catch you guys later.
Cheers, dude. Have a good one.
Yeah.